Most of what you've been told about spirituality is a comforting lie. Modern culture has sanitized ancient wisdom, turning radical liberation into a consumer product designed to keep you pacified, predictable, and perpetually seeking. They sell you a version of commodified light, a toxic positivity loop that insists you must float above reality, escape your humanity, and hunt for an artificial, pristine version of peace. They told you that enlightenment is a gentle, numbing exit from the chaos of life. They lied. The ancient, unfiltered roots of radical non-duality and original classical Tantra were never a path of escape. They were absolute declarations of war against the baseline illusion of human separation. We are born into a highly sophisticated psychological architecture, a consensus sacred matrix that programs you from infancy to believe you are an isolated fragment. You are conditioned to view yourself as a fragile ego, trapped inside a bag of skin, forced to defend itself against an indifferent, hostile, and external universe. This psychological prison creates a fundamental subject-object split in human consciousness. Suddenly, there is an I that feels pain and a world that inflicts it. There is a seeker, and there is the enlightenment they are desperately chasing. But this very fragmentation is the ultimate mechanism of internal control. It breeds chronic existential anxiety, an endless cycle of psychological lack, and a compulsive need to acquire spiritual experiences just to feel whole. You are instructed by mainstream institutions to exile your dark side, to bury your primal instincts, and to treat your shadow as a disease. They split reality in half, creating a false war between the sacred and the profane. The masters of the left-hand path saw straight through this trap. In the deep, esoteric lineages of Kashmir Shaivism, reality is not a dualistic battlefield. There is no separation between the creator and the creation. There is only one unbroken, infinite ocean of consciousness. This reality is sustained by a continuous cosmic vibration, the primordial pulse that projects the appearance of matter, time, and space out of its own singular substance. This means the universe isn't a place you inhabit. It's an entirely self-generating illusion, a cosmic mirror reflecting itself back to itself in billions of unique configurations. When you look at a mountain, a star, or your worst enemy, you aren't looking at an external object. You're looking at the divine consciousness playing a cosmic game of hide-and-seek with its own power. This is the eternal Shiva-Shakti dance, the dynamic interplay of pure, unmanifest awareness and the raw, explosive energy that forms the physical universe. They are not two separate forces. They are the fire and its heat, completely inseparable. To wake up to this truth is not a gentle transition or a peaceful meditation session. It requires a violent, irreversible eco-death. It demands that you willingly step into the furnace of your own raw awareness and watch the artificial identities, titles, and stories you've built to survive completely incinerate. This is the terrifying threshold of sacred profanity, where the boundary between the holy and the taboo dissolves entirely. This is where authentic, clinical shadow work begins. You don't transcend the dark corners of your mind by running away from them or drowning them in spiritual bypassing. You dissolve the shadow by descending directly into your own psychological abyss and realizing that your rage, your trauma, your fear, and your deepest desires are made of the exact same primordial energy as your highest spiritual peaks. There is nothing to reject. There is nowhere to run. When the internal warfare stops, the illusion of the seeker completely collapses. The final joke of non-duality is realized. There is no path to walk, no destination to reach, no karma to cleanse, and no higher self to achieve. The entity trying to become enlightened is the obstruction. When that entity steps out of the way, you fall back into the primordial void. You are left with nothing but the timeless, unshakable, sovereign awareness that has been silently witnessing every breath, every trauma, and every victory you have ever experienced. The cage was always unlocked. The separation was entirely manufactured by a mind desperate to protect its own fictional existence. You aren't a drop of water trying to find the ocean. You are the entire ocean, localized for a brief moment, waking up to its own infinite depth. The myth of separation ends here.